Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us in the continuation of Dave's presentation from Wednesday. So Dave is going to finish the rest of his presentation. We did collect the questions that you guys had presented to us on Wednesday, so he does have that list and he's going to answer that throughout this presentation. And then at the end, we'll do a Q&A. Just make sure that you are typing your questions into the Q&A section at the bottom in that black bar at the bottom, and we'll make sure we get to those. So Dave, go ahead.
Okay, hey, sorry about the interruption on Wednesday. My internet doesn't normally crash, but of course it crashed not once, but twice on Wednesday. So we're gonna try to pick it up right where we left off. Before I get started with the PowerPoint, I think we all got wonderful news yesterday when President Trump went through some of the categories that he thought should be opened and when they should be opened. I'm not so concerned about what phase we're in, but the fact that youth sports were even mentioned, gyms were mentioned, schools were mentioned. I don't know where we're going to fall in all of that. But I'm happy that it was mentioned, because I was worried that after retail and the restaurants monopolized all the time and space, that maybe we were going to be forgotten. So I don't think that anymore. So with that in mind, and knowing that we won't be forgotten, I think it is time to go ahead and get going. And okay, we're on. So this is a continuation of the first 75–80% of the PowerPoint on getting your gym ready for the new normal. I think the main thing that I talked about and was pretty emphatic about was the fact that our gyms are perfectly designed to teach small groups of kids, certainly under 10 kids and a coach, in separate areas where they can maintain the 6-foot social distancing. This is one view of my gym in Westerville. You can see that there are trampolines, a spring floor, and in the foreground we've got a beam area. This could actually be 3 groups of kids. So the beam has 5 stations, 5 kids on their own beam, and then you put a couple of lines on the floor or a couple of floor beams, and every kid is on a beam. That is perfect 6-foot distancing. On the trampolines, you only have 1 at a time, hopefully. Maybe 1 kid waiting on each, and then the other 3–4 kids, they have room also on that floor to do other drills, which is how we do it. On the far left, you see some bars. There are 4 bar stations over in that area, plus other drill stations. And so we've got groups of 7–8 kids, all working, all moving, not standing in lines, not clumping, and not violating that 6-foot space. Okay, that's more or less where I left off last time. So it is time to move on. The kids, I don't think, are a big problem. Preschool is always a challenge, but the preschool kids, we all do circuits, and I think most gyms do their preschoolers in circuits, and the kids move from thing to thing. They're used to doing that. So if they're in a self-contained circuit and then you just want to move them to the next circuit, I don't think that's hard to do. Sally, you go over to the low beam. Jimmy, you go over here, and maybe you have shapes on the floor, bunnies and rabbits and dogs and kittens. Go stand on the kitten, go stand on the bunny. And then you move the kids kind of 1 at a time to their next place, their next circuit, and you're ready to go again. And the kids don't group up, they don't stand in line, they don't violate the 6-foot norm for social distancing. So the parents are a whole different ballgame, because the kids may be spread out in the gym, but the parents, when they're watching, are not spread out in the gym. And when you reopen, when we all reopen, we can't have them squished together. The the bleachers there on the left, there I've got about 44 feet of bleachers. And on a busy night, it's packed. It's packed. So we can't have that. When I space this out 6 feet apart, I can seat like 15, 16 people on those 44 feet of bleachers. That's not very many people. Right where the kids are now, they're doing a preschool warm-up. There is actually multicolored tile under that carpet bonded foam because that's where we do birthday parties. We just pull up that foam when we set the tables up there. So we're going to pull that foam up and we are going to extend the waiting area to the wall. That adds about another 16 feet. That gives me another 13 or 14 seats. Not very many places for the parents to sit. This is going to be a challenge. And I know across the country, not that many gyms have invested heavily in having gigantic waiting areas, preferring instead to devote their space to having activities in the gym. I know that's what we did, and I think an awful lot of people are in the same boat. One of the things that we have explored and are quite excited about, although there will be challenges, is Spot TV. Spot TV interacts with Jackrabbit. It might also interact with iClass Pro. I don't know. I don't use iClass Pro. I use Jackrabbit. So what happens is when a family logs into the portal and they sign in for beginner level gymnastics Tuesday at 4:30, as they do that, they are registered to be able to view the video cameras for beginner class in the beginner class areas on Tuesday at 4:30. And they will be able to see the area in which their child is doing their class. Of course, that assumes that the beginner class is actually going to be where the cameras are set up. So you kind of have to get squared away with your rotations to make sure that the cameras are actually filming where the parents have been told their kid will be. So we have 5 major areas in our gym. We have optional team, compulsory team, preschool, beginner gymnastics, and intermediate gymnastics. And so we have 5 areas. So coming up here, whoops. Oh, now come on, don't freeze up on me. There it is. That is a display of 14 of the 16 cameras. I don't know where the other 2 are. I'll go have to find them here before we open up again. But the top three on the right, those are the cameras that will shine on the beginner class level when Tuesday at 4:30 rolls around. So I'm looking at the camera and looking at some of the other areas, and we've got some work to do to get up on the ladders and re-aim the cameras and make sure we designed it so that we could kind of see every nook and cranny in the gym. I think maybe we will modify that so that we are focused a bit more on the gymnastics and try to make it a compromise between having, you know, eyes on every single place in the gym and also being able to provide a reasonably good video feed for the parents. There is an app that will need to be downloaded on the phone or the laptop or whatever. I understand that even though we at the gym can tap on one of those screens and then magnify it, that ability is not carried over into the screens that the customers will have. Although there is some indication that the wheel on the mouse can zoom in and zoom out, and there are other ways to do it, but you lose quality of the picture. So this, I think, could be a game changer for us. So if we only have limited number of seats in the gym, then perhaps parents will be willing to go online. All right, so this particular shot shows the view of the bar area up close and personal from the second row of the bleachers, and that is what they get on the video cameras. Not the same experience, but then again, the parents might be quite happy sitting out in their car or in their family room at home. So we will see. What really becomes a challenge is, what do you do when all of the marked seats in all of your waiting area and all of the standing room only space in your lobby is full and there's still people wanting to watch? That's a bit of a conundrum. I think what we will do initially is we will try to keep, we have two partial floors, pretty close to the waiting areas. I think that we will start parking parents. They can either stand or they can sit in 6-foot social distance glory out on the floor. And my guess is the parents aren't going to want to stand or sit out in front of everybody on the floor. And perhaps we will be able to encourage people not to watch quite so often. I got at least one question on, will we limit observation to one parent at a time? I think we will. If we end up having extra space, well, that would be great. But I think we're gonna, parents have to be able to watch, but we don't necessarily have to have both parents all the time be able to watch. So I think we may in fact restrict people. Otherwise, what's the other alternative? You have to cancel the class, tell parents that they'll have to reschedule and make up because we don't have any place else to put them. I think this is a bit of a challenge for us. I got a little bit ahead there. This is our main entrance, and this is a 30-foot by 36-foot space. And on a Tuesday night, Wednesday, basically any time in our previous life, a month ago, this is jam-packed all the time. Every seat on those tables are jam-packed, standing room only. People are coming in, people are leaving, people are gathered. I mean, it's a bit of a nightmare. That can't happen anymore. It simply can't. We are going to take those tables out. We're going to shrink the cubbies there, the desk, and that's all modular, and we will shrink that up and we will add a bit more space. There won't be any place to sit. It'll all be standing room. So we hope that we can keep traffic in this area to a minimum. This is my challenge. So this is the girls' restroom. We have 3 stalls and 2 sinks. So, yeah, 2 sinks for all the hand washing that we want to have going on. So clearly, we are not going to be adamant about people washing their hands before, after each event. It's not going to happen. We only have 2 sinks. So we do have the option, the boys' restroom is conveniently located right next door. We don't have that many boys. So we will have somebody, we'll call them kid care staff, and somebody's going to be stationed in the drinking fountain and in the bathroom area whenever we're open, so they can close the boys' bathroom to the boys and let girls go in to wash their hands. That doubles my sink capacity to 4, and we will try to be able to let everybody who wants to wash their hands. We will try to provide an opportunity for them to actually do that. So there were questions about what information we are going to give to the parents. Are we going to do it ahead of time? Yes. We are going to create a number of documents, and one of them I'll show you part of here in a bit. But one of them is parents, what we're expecting from our parents, because they're part of the solution for us. And one of those things will be, we want to really encourage the kids and the parents also to wash up. Go to use the bathroom and wash up before you enter Buckeye Gymnastics. We will, of course, have sanitizer everywhere. And I say, of course, unless we can't find any. We'll talk about that in a minute. And so it's a conundrum. So we're going to do the best we can with that. And I don't really know what else to do other than to assign people and encourage people to wash up before and after, but not use our sinks. Okay, we're going to go back. So flattening the curve. We're all familiar with flattening the curve because we don't want to overwhelm our hospitals. At Buckeye Gymnastics, we don't want to overwhelm the restrooms and the entryways and the parents' viewing areas. So what are we going to do? We are going to spread out our classes. Jeff Metzger has been running boot camp forever, and he is a big proponent of block scheduling. By golly, have 4 beginner classes, 5, 6 beginner classes, however many you can get. Come in at the same time, you warm everybody up, and then everybody can get divided up. It's really super easy. Genius. We've never done that, of course. We are shotgun, have always been shotgun, and we schedule different classes at different times all over the place because we think that the more choices the parents have, the more likely they are to be able to find a time where their kids can come in. So we actually, probably a decade ago, went to a modified block scheduling. So no, we don't block in 5 or 6 classes at a time. We block in 2, maybe 3, and we still offer lots of times for the kids to come in. So what we are going to do now is we are going to block in no more than 2 classes at a time. And we are going to stagger when classes start. So 2 beginner classes might start at 4, 2 advanced beginners might start at 4:15. Intermediate class might start at 4:30, advanced class 4:45, and all those classes will be ending at different times. And then we will provide either 15 minutes or half an hour in between classes, which is a huge departure for us because we didn't have any time downtime at Buckeye Gymnastics. Classes end, got 5 minutes to get the kids lined up for the next group, and in they go. Those days are over for us. So not only are we going to stagger times, and not only are we going to not do block scheduling, we have made a conscious effort to reduce the size of our classes this summer. I don't think that's going to be hard because I don't think we're going to have that many kids. I hope I'm wrong. But we are going to limit the number of kids and stagger all the times and hope that that allows us to be able to get by with 2 sinks in the girls' bathroom. Went the wrong way. Okay, so one other way to flatten the curve is to use other entrances into your gym. We have the main entrance. This is an emergency exit. You can see to the left, there's a man standing in, there's a bright glow behind that gentleman. And that's because I've got a large display window, a floor to ceiling window that looks out over an outdoor playground. We have a sidewalk coming from our front entrance to the playground. And then there's the mulch area, and we are going to extend the mulch to the entrance to our preschool door, and that will become the entrance and exit for our preschool classes. Because remember where those kids are standing, that's going to be turned into waiting area, primarily for the preschool students. So unless those little ones have to go to the bathroom, which, you know, it's kind of likely that that's going to happen, but not all of them will do that. They won't all need a drink, because along with asking the parents to make sure that the kids wash their hands before they enter the gym, we're going to encourage them to bring their own water bottle. So we're going to try to take the pressure off not only the restrooms, but also off of our water fountains. So we've already talked about the staggering of the times, fewer kids in team groups, kids not waiting in the lobby areas. All of that makes sense. I wanted to point out the 2 floors that we have for parents overflow, because I'm worried about the parents overflow. So the floor in the foreground is actually a heavily used floor because it's the overflow floor for 3 events, the beam and the trampolines, and I am standing right next to the Warrior Ninja Zone, which also expands onto that floor. Plus we use it for floor and for warm-up. But as you look along the cubby wall, back behind the other set of bars at the bar area, you can see another floor. That is a 30 by 30 spring floor. And that is another area to work out, to warm up, And that, I think, is where we are going to put our parents. We are going to put some kind of indicators on the floor, puppies, rainbows, whatever, that's where the kids will know to stand. So they're 6 feet away from everybody. And that's where the parents are going to go if they overflow. Okay, here's the remainder of my challenge with the drinking fountains. We do have airport entryways for the restrooms, which is good. We got rid of doors a couple of decades ago. And we have air dryers, and we are installing no-touch faucets and no-touch soap dispensers before we open up again. We are going to get as close to no touch in our restrooms as we possibly can. And it is my opinion that the codes, the building codes across the country are going to change after this. And there's going to be a huge push for no touch everything coming our way. So that's digression. I think that's going to happen though. So I'm going to get a head start on that. There was a question about cleaning, actually a number of questions about cleaning. And somebody asked about cleaning the loose foam pits. How do we do that? I have no idea. We don't have any idea how to clean loose foam. You can cover them in cloth and all of that, but then you have to, it's a nightmare. So we just completely gave up and we covered our loose foam pit with mats. We know how to clean mats and we clean them all the time. And we've been cleaning them every night for decades. So we know how to clean mats, and that's how we're going to clean our loose foam pits. I mentioned already that we are going to have 15 to 30-minute intervals between the start and end of classes. We are going to do 30 minutes during the summer so we can get our act together, so we can figure out how to efficiently move kids without having them be in groups, how to get them in the gym, how to get them in the building, and then onto the floor, and then onto their first event without clumping them up and breaching the 6-foot social distancing. I think that will take practice. I think the teachers will have to learn new skills to make that happen efficiently, but I'm also positive that they will develop those skills. So I'm thinking that come fall, we will be able to shorten that 30-minute interval between classes down to 15 minutes. Someone else had questions about cleaning the carpets. I got like 25,000 square feet of carpets. We vacuum them every day. We do not steam clean them every day, however. So that is a bit of a conundrum. We've decided not to do, I mean, there are spray chemicals that you can spray on carpets and whatnot. We have elected not to do that. I am looking into the steam cleaners for carpets. We will not clean every carpet every night, but I think our goal will be to steam clean every inch of carpet at least once a week. I also got questions as to whether we were going to wipe down equipment after every single kid takes every single turn. There is not a chance in this world that we're going to do that, because that's impossible, without financially destroying our business and having kids have to wait in line. Because if you think about that, if you got kids on 8 different beams and you got to wipe them down after every single kid gets off, you got more teachers and wiping down equipment people than you do kids. So no, we're not doing that. But we do have 15 to 30 minutes in between classes and practices, and that's the time where we are going to go in and we are going to wipe down after every group of kids finishes their class or after they finish their practice. That is what we did before we got shut down. That worked very well. I think that was very well received by the teacher, by the parents, and we are going to continue to do that. And as a final bonus to the kids, right now we plan to have the teachers give them a dollop of hand sanitizers as they exit the gym floor. Now, what happens when we run out of all this stuff? I mean, we've got some supplies, you know, we've got some supplies hoarded there, but the hand sanitizer, the hand soap, we have a little trouble with Clorox wipes. So we're going to put out an all call here as soon as we are pretty sure when we're going to open. The parents are chomping at the bit, and we are going to ask for donations. And just like that first week of school, when you bring in classroom supplies, we're going to have people bring in gym supplies. And we're going to course, encourage donations, but by golly, if somebody brings us some stuff and they tape a receipt to it and gives us their name, we will gladly, happily credit their account. Okay, so I was talking about other entrances to the gym. Up in the right-hand corner, it's kind of hard to see because I got a gray mat covering the electrical equipment, but that is an emergency door. And that is conveniently located at the back end of our parking lot where there is basically a turn lane there. So our team kids right now are using that back entrance to enter and leave the gym. It's perfect. That's why we have those lockers set up there. But of course, lockers and the shoe holders, where we have the kids put their grips in the shoe holders, but we can't use that stuff anymore because you can't have all the kids standing together, shoulder to shoulder, getting their grips and getting into their lockers. So we got to eliminate all that stuff. So what do? We have come up with the idea of having every kid, it's just like camp. They're going to have a gymnastics backpack, and they are going to need to bring in, theoretically, every day, all this stuff will come in. We're going to give them a block of chalk. We're going to give them a hard plastic container to put it in. We're going to want them to bring their own water bottle, their own hand sanitizer. Kitty's going to give every kid their own TheraBand, and we want names on everything. We want the kid's name also on their brightly colored and distinctive backpack. Yes, because we don't want all the backpacks to look the same. Yikes. So we don't have it quite worked out, but I think the simplest solution might be the best. The kids carry their bag from event to event, and when they get to the event, we will have areas where they can just stash their bag 6 feet apart, and they will have all their stuff right there ready to go. Of course, the kids can go use the bathrooms. Of course they can. But we're going to encourage them to not have to do it every event. And we're going to be reluctant to send them to the water cooler because they're supposed to have a bottle of water, and we will have a water cooler in the back in case they don't. I think the backpack idea, and I will give full credit to Mary Lee Tracy for this because I stole that from her. And we might also have the team kids provide a non-cash donation to the gym in the form of hand sanitizer and liquid soap, as well as do the all call for the kids. So I think that is a wonderful idea, and we are going to definitely put that into play. So I think there's some things to do with your waivers and your staff information. I think you don't have to for the staff. I mean, it's a state mandate. It doesn't matter where that language is in our staff handbook or not. Why not put it in there? I think the changes in the team handbook, it doesn't necessarily have to be officially part of your handbook, but I think you definitely need a page or two of information on what is coming and what they should expect. And we are going to do Zoom sessions with all of our kids, both class kids and our team kids, before we have their first practice and before classes start, for any parents who wants to be involved. And we're going to explain all that we've done. We're going to explain our expectations for the kids, for them, and then open it up to questions. And I'm sure that will be interesting. On Wednesday, I shared a statement that basically says that we are going to continue spotting. There is not going to be a way for kids to opt out of being spotted at Buckeye Gymnastics. We are definitely going to try to do more hands-off drilling and progressions, but there is a time and a place to spot kids, and we're going to do it. And if a parent, I totally understand if they don't go on to get touched by people, totally understand, but you can't be at Buckeye Gymnastics and not allow us to spot when a spot is called for. So we've just made that decision. Also, if you're going to use Spot TV, I think you're going to need to get some language in your official waiver indicating that they consent to having their children streamed live to other kids in the class. So I think that information needs to be out there. There were questions about whether we were going to use the thermometers. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to use, the staff is going to get their temperature taken every day. If they're above 100 or 100.4, whatever that is, they're going to have to go home. I am reluctant to do that with kids. I am reluctant to do it with parents. We will have it available if people want to do it. And of course, if the state of Ohio mandates it, we will have the thermometers on hand and we will be ready to go. This is kind of fun. I took the picture on the right there at a local post office. The post office sparing no expense in getting a high quality and very appealing plexiglass screen between the mail handler and the public, just to show you that it doesn't have to be fancy to get the plexiglass barrier between your office people and the public. Actually, that is not plexiglass, that is acrylic. You can buy it in 4x8 sheets. You can also buy it in 2x4 sheets at Home Depot or Lowe's, and that piece is just screwed right into that 2x4 frame. So you can protect your people without spending a lot of money, and apparently without putting a whole lot of time and effort into it. We are going to do a little better than that, but we will accomplish the same thing and have the screens. All right, this is part of the document that I'm going to have the parents look at. It's going to be in 3 parts. The first part is going to outline all of the steps that Buckeye Gymnastics is taking to keep them and their kids and our staff safe. The second part is they're going to sign off on the fact that we will be spotting, that there will be incidental contact between kids, because kids are kids and we're going to do our best to keep them 6 feet apart, but it's not going to happen all the time. They're going to bump into each other and they're going to get too close. You know, it's going to happen. If you don't want it to ever happen, you've come to the wrong place. And then this is the part at the bottom where we have the parents sign off and we indicate that there are challenges with the waiting area and we want 1 parent at a time to come. We want the students to wash their hands frequently, certainly before and after class, but we only have 2 sinks in the bathroom, so, you know, help us out there. The class structure is going to change, fewer kids in the class, things are spread out. We lay it all out there. And we're not asking them to agree. What we kind of are, we're going to ask them to do their part to help make it work. Because if the parents don't buy in and they don't want to participate in making it safe, it's not going to be safe. So we're educating and we're trying to get them to buy in a little bit. Risk. Getting ready for reopening isn't just getting the facilities ready, isn't just making sure that you can get the kids and parents in and out of the gym in an efficient way that doesn't violate the 6-foot distancing requirements. We got to be able to survive as businesses. So this is my initial stab at team policies for tuition, because when we closed, I closed the gym on March 15th, the day before Governor DeWine closed all the gyms in Ohio, because I just didn't think it was safe for the kids and the families or my staff or me to be in the gym without us knowing really what was going on. So I just closed the gym and we haven't collected a dime since. So we cannot absorb that. So I've explained that. And if we are going to be, it's possible we'll be forced to close again. And if that happens, I want to have a policy in place so that we don't go another month and it's going to end up being 6 weeks, even longer, before we see a dime of income coming in. Because we didn't do any of the online stuff. We didn't do any of that. We just closed. So I'm not going to issue refunds anymore. I'm going to give all the credit that the parents have. We closed in the middle of March. So the overwhelming majority of my parents, not only on team, but in classes, they just decided to pause their tuition and get credit for the unused weeks. Fine. But I'm not giving refunds anymore. I'm going to give only credit, and that will be just for the month where we are closed. If it continues on like it did this time into the next month, I'm going to go ahead and process tuition with a 60% discount. And if the gym happens to open up the second day of the month and we've already processed it, fine, no problem. We aren't going to collect any more tuition. And then if it's extended, we'll have to figure out what we're going to do, but we will charge a prorated rate when we do open back up. I just want it all out there so everybody knows what's going to go on if this happens again. In classes, it's a little bit more dicey. I'm not going to refund tuition for classes either. Although we all know if anybody really, really wants their money back, we're going to give their money back. But we have unlimited makeups. We've had unlimited makeups for years. So if they don't get the last week or 2 or 3 of their session, they have up to a year to use those credits. They can use it for anything that we make available at the gym, including birthday parties and camps. And if we continue, if people don't let us know to stop collecting tuition, we are going to continue collecting it at a 50% rate, and we will get into the business of providing in-home Zoom or in-home activities for the kids to do during the weeks that they are off. So that is kind of my plan and what I'm thinking to get Buckeye Gymnastics ready to go. And I've got a few questions here that I didn't get answered. I think I've been very clear with my parent viewing, whether I'm going to limit one parent or not. Yes, we probably will. I think I covered all of the questions. Oh, the cost of Spot TV. I don't know exactly. We have a proposal. We're still tweaking it, but I have 3 buildings. I have a lot of cameras, probably a total of 30 cameras between the 3 buildings. And our monthly fee, I believe, is less than $400. That, I think, is a bargain. So, but I might be remembering incorrectly. They're super folks to work with, so I hope you get in touch with them. I thought a really good question was if I'm going to have my staff tested before they're allowed to return to work. I'm going to take their temperature. I'm not sure exactly how to go get them tested if they're not showing any symptoms at all. That doesn't exist in Columbus, Ohio, as far as I know. If it becomes widely available, I will encourage everybody to get tested. But until that point, I'm not going to do that. Spotting and how to handle preschool classes. I think I've already covered that. So what new questions have come in? Let me see if I can get rid of the screen.
Okay, we do have a few new questions for you, Dave.
Okay, good. Hold on.
I will wait till you get rid of the screen. There we go.
Okay.
All right. For cleaning, what products are you using to clean your equipment?
I can't tell you specifically. I will tell you that Buckeye closed on the 15th. On the 16th, I got on Amazon and some of the other sites, and I searched under hospital bulk cleaning supplies or something like that. And whatever I could order by the case that was listed in the hospital section, that's what I ordered. Once we got all of the product, there was at least one that we decided not to use because its chemicals were so harsh that when we looked them up online, it was like a hazardous waste thing. So the staff really wasn't very interested in handling that. But I can't tell you. But that's where we ordered all the stuff, and you can't get it now because I went and tried to get it. I'm like everybody else. I tried to get into masks and then the hand sanitizers and everything else. I can't get it. So I don't have any answers for that.
Okay, couple things in regards to Spot TV. Someone does have iClass Pro, and it does not work with Spot TV, but
Okay.
Spot TV is willing to work with you with your cameras. With that being said, there's two questions. What type of cameras are you using for this? Is there any special camera that they need to get?
I have no idea, but
I'm in the same situation. I don't know what Chris bought.
No, I don't know, but my understanding when I talked to Sam at Spot TV, that the actual cameras weren't what was important. It was the interface and what kind of signal they were sending back. So I think there's a wide variety of cameras that will work with Spot TV, but you'll have to call Sam at Spot TV to get that specific knowledge.
Okay, great. Now, in some states, there is a law that foster children cannot be filmed. How would you handle that then, for your classes, if you're having parents go in through Spot TV?
Well, one, I'm not sure how I would know that they were foster kids because we don't ask that kind of information, and unless they volunteer it, I would have no way of knowing. That apparently is not a law in Ohio because I have never encountered that. We are aware of foster kids, and the foster parent has always signed off on our waiver about kids being allowed to be photographed and filmed, and their only recourse is to have us remove it after the fact. So unfortunately, I can't address that because that's not something I'm familiar with.
Okay.
Bummer though, for the foster kids, really, it's too bad.
Yeah, I know that we have some situations in the state of Michigan in regards to that also. And generally the foster parents let us know in advance, but I think each club is going to have to address that by their state law.
Absolutely, they're going to have to.
Yep. Really quick question. Will you have parents wear masks?
Parents can wear whatever they want to. Right now, our policy, and I think that we covered that on Wednesday, was that if I have staff who are spotting kids, they're going to wear masks. If any of my staff want to wear masks, we are going to try to go to less spotting. And we're going to hone our skills on drills and lead ups and progressions. But there's a time and place for spotting, and they have to wear the mask. And if every one of my staff, if they want to wear the mask, fine with me. If the kids want to wear the masks, who am I to tell the kid they can't wear a mask? They can wear whatever they want. My joke on Wednesday was that we will draw the line at having masks with skulls and crossbones, but puppies, anything having to do with Ohio State is fine. If we get a Michigan logo, that's not going to fly at Buckeye Gymnastics. But yeah, it's not up to me to judge what parents and kids and even my staff should wear, whatever makes them feel safe. And what we are doing for the masks is we have two very artistic people in our program on our staff, and they are making multiple face masks for all of the staff at a very reasonable price, I might add. And the staff can either, we're going to give multiple masks to the full-time staff who are in there every day, and they will have a choice. They can either take those masks home and wash them themselves, or, hold on, or we are going to hire a laundry service who will pick them up every 2 or 3 days, wash them, and bring them back. So they, unless they put their name on it, it's going to be mix and match, but they will be as heavily laundered as they can possibly be. So we're just working all of that out, but that right now is what we're going to do.
This is a great question here. You talked about the backpacks for your athletes and them carrying them back and forth. How are they going to be disinfected?
The parents are in charge of disinfecting their kids' backpack. I don't want to be in charge of any of that stuff. We were I was talking with some of my staff about the carpet situation. I got 25,000 square feet of carpet in one of the buildings. How do we disinfect that? We're not going to disinfect it every night. Not going to happen. We're going to encourage the kids we're going to go old school. We're going to encourage the kids to wear footies. And when they get home, take the footies off and put them into the laundry and wash those suckers. So, or they just get in the bathtub and take a shower and wash their feet. I don't care, but I probably bring it to the parents' attention that no, we are not going to steam clean the carpets every single night, and we're not going to put the harsh chemicals on, but we will do it once a week. And you got to take care of your own feet.
Okay. All right. Have you considered an air purification system?
Funny you should mention that. Yes, we have. The size of our gym, the only way that is practical is to actually use the HVAC system and come up with filters that are fine enough to actually remove the fine particles out of the air. And we came up with hospital grade filters that would absolutely have an impact on removing the coronavirus from the air. The problem is, in gymnastics gyms, we have this stuff called chalk dust. And the chalk dust being pulled into these filters make it basically impossible for those filters to work. The next thing we encountered, we tried, were ozone machines, but apparently ozone really causes distress and harm to folks who might have asthma and respiratory issues. So we thought it would be best not to pump ozone into the gym and cause more problems for anybody who has respiratory problems. So the short answer to that is yes, we looked into it, and no, we have no solution as far as air filtering goes, except possibly in the offices, but that's the only place I think I can use them.
Looks like we lost Cindy, so I'm going to give you some of the questions.
Okay.
Someone asked, you mentioned smaller classes this summer. What will be your max ratio for classes?
For rec classes, we're going to be maxing out at 6. Preschool, we're going to max out at 4. The way I'm thinking about summer is we are practicing. Our teachers are practicing on smaller groups of kids and developing their skills. So hopefully when we get back to full classes, which is 8 or 9 and 6 or 7 in preschool, we'll be ready. Teams, we've always been about 8 to 1. So we're going to maintain that.
Do you still plan on offering parties, or are you going to hold off on those for right now?
You know, that is a great question. As of right now, I am leaning toward not having birthday parties. I'm also leaning toward not having open gyms. In fact, I'm not going to have open gyms because we can't control the distance. We can't enforce the social distances with it being an open situation. I'm also thinking about not allowing mommy and me classes. Maybe. We might do some experimental ones during the summer and see if we can make that work with the mommy and me classes. We also might not do anything with kids under 2. Same reason. Just not enough control. The parents are in charge of that, but the parents don't always do their job. So we're going to think about that. So I don't know.
Okay, and then are you going to put your coronavirus waiver into Jackrabbit?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to update our policies and procedures in Jackrabbit. So everyone's going to have to fill out a new waiver. The coronavirus stuff is not going to appear in the waiver. They will have to sign off on it, just indicating they read it. And I've asked for their help, and by signing it, I assume they're going to try to give it. The only exception to that is I will put the language having to do with the video cameras being broadcast. That will have to go up as part of the photography release.
A little bit of a clarification on Spot TV. Someone's asking, how do you prevent parents from watching when their child's class isn't going on?
Oh, that's a great question. And we asked that because if the child signs up for Tuesday at 4:30, that code is only good for Tuesday from 4:30 to 5:15, which is when the class, I'm sorry, 4:30 until 5:45 when the class ends. You also cannot copy. You cannot copy the feed as it comes across in Spot TV. Those are great questions. Those are questions we ask. Yeah, for sure.
Someone's asking, currently right now, how are you communicating to your staff?
I kept my two main managers on payroll for the past month. Everyone else is on unemployment, and those managers, one's our head coach, and Kitty and Kathy is my gym manager. We have been trying to have multiple interactions with our staff, either by Zoom or by FaceTime or texting, multiple touches with everybody every week, and I get in touch with almost everybody too. So that's how we're doing it.
Okay, if someone were to test positive in your gym for coronavirus, what are your plans to handle that?
We started talking about that last week. Our plan right now is to instantly contact the Ohio Department of Health and follow whatever recommendations they want us to do. We're assuming that we're going to let everyone in the class know that there was an infection. And it's my understanding that that is what the health department would want us to do. But we are going to follow what we're told to do.
Yep. Are you considering raising tuition to offset those additional costs?
No. And on the flip side of that, there's a bit of chatter, actually a fair amount of chatter on the sites, the gymnastics sites that I stalk from time to time. And there are a lot of people talking about discounts. I have zero inclination to offer discounts. And the reason is either people feel safe enough and are motivated enough to come back to Buckeye Gymnastics or they're not. And I don't think a 10 or 20% discount is going to change somebody's mind if they're worried about the safety and health of their kid or themselves. So I'm just going to charge what I charge, and I don't plan to raise tuition in the fall.
Are you going to have camps and parent night outs?
No parent night out, because that's the same problem as open gym. We are having summer camps. So we already have, Kitty is very optimistic. She's thinking we're going to have our camps, summer team camp in the middle of June. And we haven't bought any airline tickets yet to bring people in. We'll see. But yes, we're going to offer day camps. I think there's going to be a huge demand for day camps, especially with early drop-off and late pickup. And I'm hoping we do a bang-up business with our day camps.
Okay, someone is asking, they have 24 kids in one preschool class on Saturdays. How do we tell the other 20 students they cannot come back to gymnastics or they have been removed from the class? Are you dropping all of your students and re-enrolling them, or what is your plan for that?
We are going to contact everybody who has who was with us when we shut down. Most of them have credits. So we are going to let everybody know what kind of credit they have. We're going to, since we are scrambling the classes, they aren't going to be able to just rejoin their class probably because we're separating them now by 15 minutes to a half an hour. So everybody's going to get an email specific to them. They're going to be able to go to the portal and try to find a class close by. We will automatically enroll them in the class closest to where they were. But you're right, since we're going to cut down the number of classes, if everybody decides to join up, they're going to have to make changes. We are prepared during the summer to go Saturday afternoons, Sundays. We are going to spread out and give everybody an opportunity. I hate the word, the thought of kicking people out of Buckeye Gymnastics. We will find a way.
Can you give a little bit of a clarification on what you meant by footies? Some people are concerned about kids slipping. So can you just clarify?
Yes. Well, I did go back and say that if you didn't want to wear the footies or the socks and throw them in the washing machine, then go barefoot and jump in the shower for God's sakes and wash your feet. So I was kind of thinking off the top of my head there, but the questions have been raised and we haven't put anything in writing about that yet. So I don't know.
Okay, and then this is the last question. Someone said we had planned on price increase beginning in June. We raise prices every other year. Do you think we should continue with that as normal?
They sound like they've got a good thing going. I think my comment about not discounting also applies to, not raising your prices. If you think that people are going to be swayed by a, whatever, 1, 2, 3% increase in tuition, I don't think that's going to be a deal breaker for people. So good for you. I hope you can get it.
Okay, this is the final one because we did.
Okay, promise.
Yes, I promise. We talked about circling back on hand sanitizer and the lack of availability. Do you have any ideas for what can be used instead of that?
Vinegar and alcohol. It doesn't smell so good, but I think you can still buy vinegar, or maybe it's vinegar and water. I don't know. There are lots of different formulations out there, but vinegar really works well, except that you got to go wash that vinegar smell off your hands.
Yeah. Okay. That's all for the questions. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, and thanks everybody. I'm glad we made it through on a Friday afternoon. All right. Good luck with everybody opening your gyms. Godspeed. We got to get back. We got to get back to business.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
This has also been recorded, everyone, and it will be up on usagym.org underneath the member services section. So you guys will be able to revisit this. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.